Have you ever stopped to think about how a free VPN service actually keeps the lights on? I mean, if you're not paying them, what's the real price? Well, today, we're going to find out. We're diving into a fascinating report from the Colorado-based tech research firm Virtualization Options LLC that pulls back the curtain on how these services really operate. And really, it all comes down to this one simple question. When a service is promising you something as valuable as online privacy for free, you got to ask, what does that free actually cost you? The answer to that question is, well, it's basically the entire business model.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with why we all want a VPN in the first place, that promise of privacy. Then we'll look at the so-called free solution, uncover the hidden price tag, put free and paid services head-to-head, and finish up with how you can make a smart choice for yourself.
All right, first up, the promise of privacy. Why are so many of us even looking for a VPN? It really just boils down to a fundamental need for a little more security and anonymity in our digital lives.
So what exactly is a VPN? Well, it stands for Virtual Private Network. And honestly, the best way to picture it is like your own private encrypted tunnel on the internet. Everything you do goes through this tunnel, hiding your activity and keeping your data safe from prying eyes.
And you can see why that's so appealing, right? Maybe you just want to keep your browsing history private from your internet provider, or you're at a coffee shop and want to use their public Wi-Fi without worrying. Or, let's be honest, maybe you just want to watch a show that's not available in your country. These are all huge reasons people turn to VPNs.
Now, with millions of people wanting that kind of protection, the market came up with what seems like the absolute perfect answer, the free VPN. And on the surface, it's an offer that sounds way too good to pass up.
And the Virtualization Options report really drives this point home. As our concerns about privacy grew, the demand for VPNs just exploded. And free services, with their super aggressive marketing, quickly became the go-to solution for millions of people.
And when I say popular, I mean really popular. The report estimates there are around 1.5 billion VPN users around the world. That is a massive chunk of the internet trying to stay protected.
And where you have that many users, you have some serious money. The global VPN market is valued at roughly $35 billion. A number that big is our first clue as to why a company would be so eager to get you on their platform, even if it's for free.
Which brings us right to the heart of this explainer, the hidden price tag. You've probably heard that old saying, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. Well, let's find out just how true that is when it comes to free VPNs.
I mean, think about it. It costs a ton of money to run a huge network of secure servers all over the world. So how on earth can these companies possibly afford to do that without charging you a single dime?
Well, according to that report from Virtualization Options, there's a pretty clear 5-part playbook. It starts with the most valuable thing you have, your data, but it also includes things like injecting ads, secretly using your computer to mine crypto, pushing you towards paid plans, and getting commissions. Let's break these down.
And here it is, the big one. This is the ultimate irony. You get a VPN to protect your privacy, but many free services do the exact opposite. They log your browsing history, what apps you use, even your location, and then they package it all up and sell it to advertisers and data brokers. The very thing you were trying to protect becomes their main product.
And it doesn't stop there. Some of them will literally inject extra ads and trackers into the websites you visit, which just slows everything down. Others might secretly borrow your device's processing power to mine cryptocurrency in the background, which can destroy your battery life. And of course, a lot of them are just a freemium model, designed to frustrate you enough to upgrade to a paid plan or to get a kickback for sending you somewhere else.
Okay, so now that we know the business models, let's put free and paid services side by side. Because when you see the trade-offs laid out like this, based on the report's findings, it becomes really clear what you're giving up.
The difference here is pretty night and day. Paid VPNs almost always use stronger military-grade encryption. Free ones, they might cut corners. With free, you get fewer servers, which get overloaded, meaning slower speeds for you. But the biggest difference, the most critical one, is the privacy policy. A good paid service has a strict, independently audited no logs policy. With a free service, That's the one thing you just can't count on.
So what does all this mean for you, the user? Well, it means a higher chance of your data leaking out. It means slow, unreliable connections that drop all the time. You miss out on key features like a kill switch, which is designed to protect you if the VPN connection fails. And worst of all, some free VPNs have literally been caught bundling malware right into their installer. Yikes.
Okay, I know that all sounds pretty bleak, but knowledge is power, right? So let's flip this around and talk about how to choose wisely. Whether you go free or paid, here's a little privacy checklist you can use to make a safe and informed decision.
The research report from Virtualization Options LLC says it perfectly. Transparency is crucial. It all comes down to trust. You have to be able to trust your VPN provider, and that trust is built on them being completely honest about what they do and how they handle your data.
So what does that transparency actually look like in practice? First, look for a crystal clear no logs policy. And read their privacy policy. Is it easy to understand, or is it 20 pages of confusing legal language? Even better, have they been independently audited by a third party to prove their claims? And finally, check that they use strong, modern encryption protocols.
When you boil it all down, the conclusion is pretty simple. The price of a free VPN is almost always paid with a compromise. As you can see, you're usually trading away your privacy, your security, and your device's performance, all for the convenience of not paying a few bucks a month.
And that brings us right back to where we started. We asked what free really costs. Now that you know the potential price, paid with your data, your security, and your peace of mind, you can finally answer the real question: is free actually worth it to you?